Hey everyone, it's Steven GetMoneyMyrick here, and in today's video, I am going to be discussing how I cleared Valiant with the cheese method within Void Vortex of Idle Heroes. This is part 2 of a 3-part series. If you missed the first part, go ahead and check it out right below. There should be a nice little link for you all showing how I equipped my heroes in order to clear Vortex for Valiant and Defier. So go ahead and check that video out first if you don't know how to equip your heroes. But if you watch that video and you want to know how you can beat Valiant, this video is made just for you. I want to start by saying I reached out to all of you and I made a poll on YouTube asking, would you rather see every single planet on Valiant and how I beat it, or would you rather see a highlight of some of the planets on what I did? And the vast majority of you want to see every single planet. And I thought about this and I took this information. I said, I think I know my viewers, and I think they don't actually necessarily want to see every single planet. So I've come up with a solution I think is best for everybody, which is that I have gone through and I made a spreadsheet showing every single planet I fought, what team I used, what team I was against. I put together how many gems I had to use in re-rolling, the timestamps of my Twitch stream. And that's the important part, is that I went ahead and put in timestamps to my Twitch stream where I did it. And I saved my Twitch stream with a link. So you all can open up the spreadsheet. You can go to my Twitch video. And if there is a particular planet you're interested in finding, you can go to that timestamp and see that battle. And you can maybe see some of the discussion I had beforehand if there is a planet that you are really interested in seeing. So I think this is the best of both worlds, because it'll allow this video to be a little bit shorter and allow me to really stick to what I think is really truly important. But if there's anything you want to see, you can go ahead and use those timestamps for the Twitch video and find the planets that you want and go ahead and see the actual raw footage from the Twitch video. I also think the spreadsheet will just help make it easier for people to find exactly what they're looking for. So a link to that spreadsheet will be below within the description of this video. There's going to be a ton of links for you of things you can check out and do within the description here. So make sure you do that. There'll also probably be timestamps of everything that we're talking about. So if you want to jump to a certain part in the video, go ahead and click on those timestamps. I put a ton of effort into this video and into this series, trying to make it as specific as possible to help as many people as possible. So if you do enjoy this video, please make sure you subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. It really supports me and shows me that you appreciate what I'm doing. So if you're watching this video and you're not subscribed, please hit that subscribe button. But let's go ahead and get into the nitty-gritty of how I cleared Valiant. So for both of these videos where I'm talking about Valiant and I'm talking about Defier, it's all going to be based around the JesusIsHere's guide to clearing Defier and also his addendum for clearing Valiant. So anytime I'm talking about stuff like blue planets, yellow planets, orange planets, this is all terminologies that JesusIsHere has already come up with. So JesusIsHere does have a link within his guide if you're interested in supporting him, because none of this would be possible without Jesus. I'm just taking the information he's already put together, all the hard work he's done with his guildmates and with other people, and putting this into a video format and explaining exactly what I did, because hopefully you find it helpful. But definitely, again, we couldn't do this without Jesus' information. So whenever I talk about planets, there is like a certain type of color coordination that he uses for the planets that you might pick the heroes for. And what I mean by that, if I can get to there in the document, is here is a showing of all the different types of planets. And I'm going to be using the exact same coloring that he is using, because it's going to match up with the guide that you will be using as you're trying to clear these. And so at a general level, if you want like the very basic idea, right, you're going to click like Control F, and you're going to find within the document a lineup that you are currently facing. And no lineup is ever the exact same within the Void Vortex. So if you put in this lineup here, you can see it'll find and it'll tell you that you're on planet 2 of Defier Area 6. And you can see the different options you have for re-rolling that planet, and it'll tell you what type of team you can use. So anything that's dark red means you can't do it. Orange means it's a certain lineup. Yellow means it's a certain lineup. Blue means it's a certain lineup. And so whenever we're talking about these lineups, I want to make it really clear, like if there is the opportunity to roll for a green planet, you almost should always roll for that green planet. Maybe if you had like 8 to 12 MSSs, or if you had a blue one already, I don't know if there's one that has a blue and a green together, maybe you're fine. But in general, this lineup he lists is how easy it is. I personally found the purple lineup to be pretty easy for me. as well as some of the carry lineups in Defier. Those are both pretty easy, so I would actually bump those up a little higher. But if you have the opportunity, say for example on this planet, planet 2, right? And you rolled an orange planet here. While technically it's possible, you should really be re-rolling that for the blue planet, and honestly, maybe even re-rolling it for the green planet, because it's going to be so much easier and so much more consistent to get those green planets. I think the easiest way to think about these planets is that green and blue do not require a Tix, okay? Yellow and orange do require Tix. And that Tix is going to be required if you are going up against a Belrain or an Amun-Ra typically. Okay, so if there's a lineup that has a Belrain or an Amun-Ra, you're going to need a Tix. And then the green and the blue planets are basically going to be whether or not there is an Eta. So a Nosuke is required for planets that have an Eta. And so a green planet would not have an Eta and would not need a Tix. A blue planet would have an Eta but not need a Tix. A yellow planet needs a Tix but does not have an Eta that you're going against. And an orange planet has an Eta and also requires a Tix. And so that's why it's kind of listed in this level of order, because when you have a Tix, that Tix has to die and get last hit by the Belrain or the Amun-Ra. So your consistency of clearing the planet becomes a lot more inconsistent. I think a really good way to explain this is somebody in my chat actually asked, if you had 16 MSSs, would it make it easier? And the answer is yes, it would be easier, but there's still so much RNG involved within these planets. For example, the Belrain has to hit the Tix on many of these planets, okay? If she doesn't, you just have to keep re-rolling until she does. So you have to play around and position that Tix so that it's getting hit and last hit by the Belrain. Or if you're going up a planet with 2 or 3 carries, there's the potential that one of those carries dies early before you're able to wipe out the rest of the team. And so when that carry comes back, it's not going to have any of the debuffs that have been replicated by your Delaciums, and so it's just going to wipe your team and kill your heroes. So there's going to always be RNG involved, even if you had all those Magic Stone Sword copies. So yes, lots of copies make it easier, but there's so many RNG elements, and there's so many elements of just, well, we have to keep hitting this button until we finally get the Belrain to hit the Tix. And so that's at least the first step, and then it's, do my heroes survive long enough to complete the planet? I found for my own sanity, it was just way easier to try and use the planets that don't have Tix on them and try to reroll for those. And that you really just want to be going for those green and blue planets whenever possible. It'll make your life just easier. You'll be happier. The other thing I'll say is with just 6 Magic Stone Swords, orange planets I felt were really difficult. I did clear a few of them within Valiant. I really struggle with them in Defier for whatever reason. So for me, with 6 Magic Stone Swords, I really recommend, even if there are orange ones, trying and re-rolling for those yellow ones because I just found them more consistent and more easier to clear than orange planets. Now I'm going to run through the spreadsheet that I made for you all. Like I said, there'll be a link to the spreadsheet in the video description, and I kind of want to just give an overview of exactly what it's telling you and what information it's providing for you. So there will be 3 different tabs with the HP attack ratio, Valiant clears, and Defier clears. So if you're doing Valiant for this video, you're going to want to click on that Valiant tab so you can see everything. And there's a link right at the top here to my Twitch video highlights that you can click on if you're interested in seeing a specific planet, because right here in column E, there's the Twitch timestamp. So you can click on this video, go to that timestamp, and that will be the moment that I beat the planet. So if you are interested in seeing the fight, you'll have to go a little bit before that timestamp, but this is when we actually cleared it. So if there's any planet at all that you want to see what we did or what the thought process was, you can go ahead and click on that. But as you can see, I went through and I summarized exactly when the fights happened. I used which team I went up against for the different sector, the different planet, and the team that we fought. I also wrote down how many times we purchased tokens to continue fights, and also wrote down how much time it took for us to clear that sector. So at the very bottom here, you can see we actually were able to clear Defier within 2 hours, 48 minutes, and we only used 22,825 gems, which honestly, I am really proud of. Only having 6 Magic Stone Swords and only spending 22,000 gems is a great accomplishment, but I will say it is just very RNG dependent on how good your rolls are and how lucky you get with Tixes and Belrains and people going where they need. So I went through and I used the same coloring that Jesus's guide used about whether it was a blue planet, a green planet, a yellow planet. There are a few times where if I changed up the lineup slightly from what you traditionally are supposed to use against those planets, that I changed the coloring. So you can see here against this yellow planet, we actually used the 10-star ticks and E5 ticks method instead of using the third Delacium. Specifically, those lineups work really well against 3 carry lineups. And I actually have some footage of that at the end of this video if you're interested in seeing why that is. But basically, it's because it reduces a lot of the RNG at the end of the fight when the carries are reviving, because that E5 ticks will blow up and it will kill all the other carries so that every hero dies at the exact same time. Whenever you're able to kill one, they all die. It also allows you to make your Magic Stone swords into Radiant copies on both of your Delaciums, which helps them survive a little bit longer, but then there's not the third Delacium replicating your debuffs. But I found that that method worked really well on the yellow planets, and you'll be able to see as we get near the bottom here how I actually use that method a ton for Sector 2 and Sector 1 with this 10-star ticks and E5 ticks going up against yellow planets. Even if there were only 2 carries, it was still working really well for us. Starting with Sector 6, we were able to clear it pretty quickly overall, 37 minutes. You can see we're able to roll a bunch of blue planets and green planets, only 1 yellow planet. And as I mentioned, those green and blue planets are really the ones you want, especially green. With 6 Magic Stone swords, it felt like that was by far the easiest, but blue was pretty easy too. We did spend a lot of time on planet number 2 because there was something that technically we could beat. It was a double Terra lineup, but Terra is your enemy. Terras are technically, you can beat them, but they're hard. Amun-Ra with Bell Rains are really, really hard. They're all listed in the guide like you can beat them, but if you can avoid them, I would go ahead and avoid them. And I would also go ahead and avoid Ada whenever you can. You know, like I said, try not to get those yellow planets and try not to get those orange planets. Every time I'm giving, by the way, is like my actual stream time. So there are definitely moments where I'm just chatting with my stream, talking about things. There's a few breaks within that stream. So that whole, 2 hours, 48 minutes could definitely get cut down, especially since this is my first time doing it. But I will say I felt like I had pretty good luck overall. So just because I was able to clear this with 6 Magic Stone swords and 23,000 gems in only 2 hours and 48 minutes, I do think I got pretty lucky. Especially like there was this planet here in Sector 4, which had a double Terra and an Amun-Ra, and we happened to get like really lucky and clear that in our very first attempt on it. Which is not normal, I would say. Like that felt like we got really, really lucky there. The fact that the Amun-Ra hit our Tixes, and the fact that we were able to avoid the seals from the double Terras screwing us up too much, it felt like we got really lucky. With Signet use, you really want to use as few as possible because you want to save some so that you can put Abyss on every single planet on Sector 1. But where you're really going to need to pay attention to using them is on Sector 4 and 3. If there is a yellow planet or if there's an orange planet, you will need shadow protection on them. And you're able to see here, there were only 3 planets where I had to make sure I had shadow protection on them. We were able to get green planets and blue planets and this purple planet pretty easily for every other one. So we didn't have to use too many signets. We got lucky and didn't have to use any on 5 or 6. There's a world in which you may have to use them in order for your shields to not go down, which Jesus discusses that. It's basically, I think, when you have Fortress protection, but you don't have Abyss protection. I actually don't know because I never had to deal with it, but there is a portion within Jesus' guide where he talks about potentially having to use signets in 6 and 5 if you're really struggling. But we never had to do that. And you can see again, we never really had to deal with orange and yellow planets. Like, yes, there's a few in here, but we didn't have to do much. We were able to roll the purple team in Sector 5, which I felt was pretty easy. There'll be some footage of that team at the end of this video. Yeah, honestly, we just kind of blew through it, especially once we got to Sector 3. You can see there was some planets where like the time gap between planets here, right? I mean, we cleared all of Sector 2 within 20 minutes, which felt very lucky. Honestly, we were just on a steamroll with the double ticks method. It was working really, really, really well for us, where we did the double tixes and the the Radiant Magic Stone swords. So I would recommend, especially once you get to 2, like doing that method and converting to yellow planets or green planets or blue planets if you get them, and just wiping those all out. And you can see we did the same thing in Planet 1 here, where we were again able to beat Sector 1. I said Planet 1, Sector 1 in a total of 20 minutes. So it was only 40 minutes for Sector 2 and Sector 1, which honestly feels like very impressive and maybe a little lucky, but yeah, it worked out really well. This planet 3, sector 4 is a green planet, so it should have been easy, but for whatever reason I felt like I was struggling with it a little bit, so I actually took out one of my Delaciums, made my Magic Stone Swords into Radiant copies, and put in an Ignis, and I found that to be a lot easier for me. You may not have to do it, depending on how many Magic Stone Sword copies you have, but that was just something you can do, is you can always be changing things up. Like if you are struggling with something, like go ahead and try something new, especially if you're getting what you need. You know, watch a fight, see if your Inosuke is surviving, see if your Delaciums are surviving long enough to replicate the debuffs. If they're not, maybe they're getting CC controlled by different heroes. You know, there's just a lot you can adjust and move around. If your Tix isn't getting hit by the Bell Rain, see if you can position the Tix somewhere else where they're more likely to get hit by the Bell Rain. I would say the largest takeaways are try to avoid orange planets if you can, and try to employ this double Tix method against yellow planets in Sector 2 and Sector 1. I had a ton of luck with it. It felt like it made my RNG way more consistent. And you can tell, you know, the results speak for themselves. We were able to clear Sector 2 and Sector 1 in a total of 40 minutes, which I think is really impressive, and I was very happy with. So yeah, that's this guide. Like I said, if you have any questions about a specific planet, you can click on the Twitch timestamp, find what you need. There will be some clips of a few of these planets that I thought were a little bit more interesting after this section, so you're welcome to stick around and watch those clips. They aren't as structured because it is just, you know, cuts of my Twitch stream thrown together. But hopefully you found this guide helpful. Hopefully I just really wanted a way for you to take what I learned, the information I had, what I did, and try to recreate it, you know, one-to-one. Obviously, you're not necessarily going to be able to, but I'm just trying to impart like that knowledge. I would definitely make sure that you read the Jesus's guide and make sure that you look at the addendum, obviously, for the Valiant pushes specifically. But that's everything I have in this video, so if you want to watch those clips, you're welcome to stick around. Otherwise, I'll see you in my next video where I'll be breaking down how we cleared Defier, because it was a little bit harder for me. It took a little bit more time, especially a specific planet that was driving me crazy, but we were able to clear it, and I'm hopeful that with this guide, you'll be able to clear things too. I will see you on my next video. Bye. Unimax 3000, Ada Sigmund, that. So this is a blue one. Fiona, Illyria, Delacium, Inosuke, Ignis. So Fiona, Illyria, Delacium, Inosuke, Ignis. Hey, we got a planet. We got a planet. Jesus Christ. So then do I just... like, is this anything? We're gonna go down to 50. There we go. It worked. Okay, so this is the planet we were doing, Daddy. It's planet number... is it 4? Ada, Belrain, Terra, Gouda, Ada. Yeah, and we need an orange line up against it. Swap a Del out for an Ignis money. In this one. So you think do that and it make like one of mine Magic Stone Swords. Do you think I'd like make them both radiant, or do you think I make like one of them glittery or one of them splendid? Oh, you were talking about the other planet probably with that comment. Oh, and somehow this got on Ada. It was always going on ticks before. Got it, Daddy. Well, if you have any suggestions for this, let me know. I don't know if I like just keep attacking it and hope that we get it. I can reroll to the green planet or the blue planet. There's a blue planet. Yeah, so we're doing a good job getting the bell rings dead, but see, but my Delasiums just keep dying. Got it. And so do you think it also makes sense while I'm here to just go ahead and radiant my... I guess we try this first, but basically radiant my magic stone sword since I'm not using them. We'll try it one time. This is a really long load screen. There we go. Belrain did get the kill on the ticks. Yeah, let's just go ahead and do it. I mean, we're not using it, and it doesn't take... Yeah, no, it does take long, actually. And I'll watch the end screen, too, of this. We're getting very lucky with the Tixes. Okay, I'll take them bending wheel off of the big ticks. I was like, why is this load screen so short? See, these load screens are much shorter, which has me worried. Yeah, this one's pretty long. This one's very long. Yeah, good suggestion, Donkey. Thank you. Yeah, I do need to figure out how you guys can get access to my other emotes and stuff. That feels very important to me. Ooh, a Thakwa. Wait, who do I want? Oh, I want her on to get on Amun Ra, right? Yo, Kane, you were my 189th follower, so if you could find 11 friends, so we can get the 200 followers, that would be great. What'd you say, Donkey? Did you say something to me, Donkey? You don't like the double Terra planets? The blue should work. Fiona. Illyria, Delasium, and Inosuke Ignis. This should work. We're gonna just do like 10 of these. Because we've tried a lot of things and we're just throwing our head against the wall. Are you kidding me? Okay, time to just push this and attack it 10 times and then we'll reconsider if we roll this planet. That one was a little longer. Nice. Nice, nice, nice. On to Area 2 now. So this is Valiant Area 2, and we're on Planet 5, and we were trying the triple Delacian technique here, and they just weren't living quite long enough, most likely. There were long load screens, but it wasn't working, so Donkey said, hey, Money, why don't you try out the double ticks technique, the secret exploding five point exploding heart technique here, and see what you can get done. So we've got our big ticks and our little ticks here with 2 Delaciums, and yeah, we need the bell ring to hit our ticks here, which you did, and we got all the tickses. Well, Donkey was wrong. We didn't get it our very first time, so this clearly doesn't work. This is a long load screen. Do I have to ask for his forgiveness? I do need to. He's such a genius. Ladies and gentlemen, not only does he spend a lot on this game, he also actually knows what he's talking about. So if we just get lucky RNG here, and I feel like if we get lucky RNG here and the bell ring gets the ticks, then these are like the best ones for us, like when we get these yellow planets. Like obviously I should be re-rolling for the greens that there is. Come on, long. That's a long load screen, ladies and gentlemen. That's a little long. Let's see if bell ring gets it on the ticks here. She has to, right? Otherwise it wouldn't be a long load screen. Boom! I love it. Give my like exact address too. I don't remember which. That's the one we're avoiding. And this one, look, I don't even have to check the guide. I know what we're doing. Trenton's looking for my home address, guys. Call the FBI. No, but I live in Indiana. I've lived all over. I'm gonna say I lived all over the world. This one isn't working. I don't know why it's not working. But I was born in Texas. I'm not gonna get too much information. I was born in Texas. I've lived in England. I've lived in Belgium, and I've lived in the Midwest a bunch. So we need to get good RNG here with the. We can go ahead and find what planet this is in case there's a green one. Sherlock. Yeah, there's only yellow ones here, so this is probably the best we're gonna get on this planet. We don't want to regress our artifacts until we get the good luck on this one. Yeah, I love this, man. Donkey, I gotta get this out to the public. You guys have the knowledge. Okay, we're swapping up our luck here. So for the video, for the YouTube, we have 1 planet left, and we're at using 22,500 gems with 1 planet left. Now, granted, I have no idea how many we're gonna get on this one as we keep re-rolling. That was a little too confident there, huh? There we go, we got one of the planets that I wanted. Donkey, I know how you felt just slightly, but not nearly enough. Where you had 1 planet left and couldn't get it done. I don't think that load screen was long enough. It was long enough. Ladies and gentlemen,